Free agency is almost here. In this video, I will give you one free agency signing for every NFL team. This is who I think your team should sign. I'm the GM of your team. This isn't necessarily a prediction of what is going to happen. I've already done that. This is not a re-signing, but an addition to your favorite team's roster. Before I give you who I would sign if I was your favorite team, Gronk, spike the like button and subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NFL free agency vids just like this. Free agency reactions and analysis coming all off-season long here on The Bottom Line View. Make sure you comment your opinion. Do you agree with my thought and my signing for your team? Let's kick it off with the Buffalo Bills. If I was the Bills GM, I'd be signing Mario Addison. The Bills, I know they would love to add a known commodity to their pass rush. They desperately need some depth at the edge position, and Addison has had no less than 9 sacks in 4 straight seasons. Addison would be a perfect fit for the Bills defense because he's played in it before. His old defensive coordinator from Carolina was Sean McDermott, and I'm sure McDermott would love to have him in Buffalo. The Miami Dolphins go out and sign Joe Thuney. The Finns, they had a no-name offensive line in 2019. In 2020, they are due for a few upgrades. Brian Flores, he'll pay to reunite with Joe Thuney, one of the league's best guards, a 2-time Super Bowl champion who hasn't missed a single game in his career. He's physically tough, he's mentally tough, and that's what Flores wants from his team. That's exactly what they'll be signing in Joe Thuney. I know it's unlikely, but I mean, this is what I would do. Amari Cooper, because he would be an absolute game changer for New England's offense. He is one of the most explosive receivers in the NFL, an excellent route runner, and dangerous with the ball in his hands. Imagine Cooper with McDaniels drawing up plays and Tom Brady throwing him the rock. Jack Conklin signs with the Jets. If you want to see if Sam Darnold is the guy, you need to protect him. Jack Conklin is exactly what this team needs at right tackle. He's as good as it gets on the free agent market for young, talented tackles. Conklin, he would lock down the spot for the Jets at right tackle for years. Jamie Collins to the Ravens. In 2019, the Ravens missed a do-it-all inside linebacker. Jamie Collins can literally do everything, including backflips. Collins absolutely stuffed the stat sheet in New England last season with 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and 7 sacks. He can play inside, he could play outside. He could set the edge, he can rush the passer, blitz, or cover. Collins would be the type of chess piece for Don Martindale that I think would take the Ravens defense at every level to the next level. For the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Schobert. The Bengals have had a lot of talent defensively over the years, but in recent seasons, what they haven't had is leadership. They haven't had that centerpiece. Sometimes a smart linebacker can make the rest of your defense better. And in Schobert, the Bengals get an instinctual linebacker who can really run down running backs sideline to sideline. He can cover, and he just straight up makes plays. For the Browns, Anthony Harris. This is a perfect fit. He has multiple connections to Cleveland, whether it's the new head coach, Stefanski, or the new defensive backs coach and passing game coordinator, Jeff Howard, who is Harris's assistant defensive backs coach in Minnesota. The Browns could use a massive upgrade at free safety, and Harris fits the bill as one of the best center fielders in the NFL. For the Steelers, this might be a little bit of a surprising pick, but hear me out. I really like Melvin Gordon to Pittsburgh. You know, he might not be the most expensive option out there this free agency. I think his price is actually going to come down. I think a lot of people are scared to pay running backs. And you have to admit that a playmaking element since losing Le'Veon Bell has been missing at the running back position. Melvin Gordon has a burst in the open field that I think the Steelers could really benefit from. You're really letting one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in football go to waste without the running back who can really capitalize on it. And Gordon is the type of running back that I believe can capitalize on it. Not to mention the Steelers, they're in win-now mode. Ben is coming back from injury, so you want to give him a nice running back. I really love this. I think this could restore the balance in the force and bring the running back to the Steelers offense. The Houston Texans sign a corner. Seriously, just any corner, but let's go with Chris Harris. The Texans need to do something about their cornerback position, because if they don't, I don't know if I can watch them anymore. But Harris seriously is an elite level corner, especially in the slot, and this will solve a lot of the Texans' cover issues. The Indianapolis Colts, Phillip Rivers. As much as the Colts need a defensive lineman, the Colts need a quarterback more. There's a sense of comfort on both sides with this move. Phillip Rivers may not have the arm that he used to have, but he can still decipher defenses at an elite level. He can get the ball out quick, and that's absolutely perfect for Frank Reich's offense. Not to mention, Reich coached Rivers before with the Chargers. The Jacksonville Jags appear to be all in on Minshew. They're on the Minshew train, which means that they want to support him with every weapon they can get their hands on. A middle of the field safety blanket is exactly what Minshew could use. I don't remember the time the Jags actually had a good tight end. I mean, maybe Mercedes Lewis. Austin Hooper would instantly be that type of middle of the field target that Minshew and the Jags need. The Tennessee Titans, Matt Judon, a perfect scheme fit. Not too far off from Baltimore, so you know it would be able to replicate his success in Tennessee. That's often been an issue with Ravens linebackers, specifically edge rushers leaving Baltimore. That wouldn't be a problem in Tennessee. It might not happen that Judon actually hits the open market if he gets the tag, but the Titans, if they're able to add someone just like Matt Judon, that would take their defense all of a sudden from being good to scary. The Denver Broncos, you know that Vic Fangio values big dudes in the interior of his defensive line. DJ Reader has become one of the best nose tackles in the NFL today. A dominant force in the middle of a defense, combined with Miller and Chubb on the edge, that would be dangerous. Kansas City, we know they're going to be in search for corners this offseason. They need to upgrade their secondary, specifically with basically all of their corners being free agents this offseason. Bradley Roby isn't one of the elite options, but he's a really good option, honestly an underrated option. He excels in man-to-man coverage, which the Chiefs love to run, and Roby, I think, would bring this feistiness to the corner position in Kansas City that they would welcome. The Chargers. I made this one of my predictions, and honestly, I'm just so in love with this fit. Quinton Jefferson to the Chargers. It's not the biggest name, so Chargers fans, hear me out. Chargers, you guys need an upgrade in the interior of your defensive line. Their highest graded interior defensive lineman last season was ranked 73rd by PFF. Jefferson would be a low-cost upgrade who performed very well in the same system for Seattle in 2019. The Las Vegas Raiders. They seem intent on fixing their linebacker position after releasing Whitehead. I really love Corey Littleton in this defense. The Raiders need speed in the middle of their defense. I think Mike Mayock realizes that. I think John Gruden realizes that. And Corey Littleton is the definition of a modern linebacker. He's instinctual, he is fast, and he can really cover. The Dallas Cowboys. Clinton Dix. I try to say that name serious every time, and it's almost impossible, but the Cowboys need a playmaking safety in the secondary, and I think Clinton Dix honestly would be a perfect fit. Hopefully he doesn't price himself out of the Cowboys' range, because if Dallas could get a playmaker like him at safety, I think that would totally take this defense to the next level. Stop it, Philadelphia. I see you on Twitter. You're arguing that you don't need a corner and you don't want to pay one. You need a corner. Stop it. Okay, Byron Jones has the tools to be an absolute stud. He has the tools to be the best corner in all of football. He jumps out of the gym, he can run, he's long, and he's the type of man-to-man corner who can absolutely transform a secondary, even Philadelphia's. The Washington Redskins. Bradbury is better than people think. I know he's heavily connected to Washington because of Ron Rivera, but honestly, it only makes sense. The Skins, they're desperate for corners, and Ron Rivera, he's going to try and bring his best one from Carolina to Washington. The New York Giants. They need a secondary player. They need an edge player. They straight up just need a defensive playmaker. Anyone in that category would fit. And I think Jadeveon Clowney is a perfect fit. The Giants have reportedly expressed interest in bringing in Jadeveon Clowney, and honestly, I can see why. I've always wanted to see what Clowney would actually be able to do within a Patriots-esque defense, and that's exactly what they're trying to run in New York. Clowney is a game wrecker and the type of player the Giants need to take this defense to the next level. He might not be the pure edge rusher in terms of pass rusher that everybody loves, but when I'm telling you that nobody blows up more plays at an elite level, it's absolutely true. Clowney is a monster. His athletic ability is off the charts. I would be extremely ecstatic just to see Clowney inside all of the different blitz packages that the Giants could possibly draw up with that athlete on their defense. The New Orleans Saints. Emmanuel Sanders is honestly, finally, the type of reliable number 2 receiver for Drew Brees that they really could use. Sanders likely will only play for a contender, and I think he would feast opposite Michael Thomas. Sean Payton is a magic man when it comes to drawing up plays for how to get receivers open. Combine that with Sanders' route running ability and quickness in and out of cuts, and you could have a dangerous 1-2 combination at wide receiver. The Atlanta Falcons have needed help on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. The edge rush in Atlanta specifically has really been lacking for the last couple of seasons now, and Quinn was one of the best edge pass rushers in the sport in 2019. In Atlanta's pin your ears back and go get it type of defensive line play, I think Quinn would easily replicate his success in Atlanta that he had in Dallas. He's pretty awesome in terms of being a Robin to Grady Jarrett's Batman without really breaking the bank. The Carolina Panthers, they're impossible to judge this offseason. The one thing that I do know is that they want athletes, and that's a good place to start when you're taking over, when you're coming from college to the NFL. Just look for athletes. Look for guys that can play. And Bud Dupree is a phenomenal athlete. There are not many edge rushers who played better in 2019. Dupree is powerful enough to set the edge with the best of them versus the run, but also he's really good at bullying tackles with his power as a pass rusher. You could then combine him on one side with Brian Burns, and instantly that's one of the best duos in the NFL. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they signed Justin Simmons. Because their secondary, they could use a safety, they could use a corner. Why not Justin Simmons, who I think could play every position on the football field? I mean, this guy is an athlete. If he isn't franchise tagged, which I think is highly unlikely, I would be immediately calling his agent if I was the Tampa Bay Bucs. I think he would perfectly fit their defensive scheme. The Minnesota Vikings sign Jason Peters. Now, Peters is looking to win in what is likely going to be his last season in the NFL, and it doesn't appear he's going back to Philadelphia. So basically the options are wide open. And the last image I had of the Vikings offensive line is being absolutely overwhelmed by San Francisco's pass rush. You don't want that to happen if you're playing in January next season again. So you add a shutdown left tackle like Jason Peters to this offense, and I think a lot of people would be amazed how much that actually helps Kirk Cousins. The Green Bay Packers sign Robbie Anderson. Again, this is my pick. Robbie Anderson would unlock the Packers offense. You combine the speed and big play ability of Anderson with the route running savvy of Davante Adams, the explosive ability of Aaron Jones, and more importantly, the deep ball of Aaron Rodgers, and I think you could see fireworks. Never mind a tight end. You've tried that before in Green Bay. Go get a guy who can score quickly. Go get a guy who can bring a big play element to this Packers offense. The Detroit Lions, they really just need to get more athletic up front. They need to get more athletic on defense, and they need more explosive playmakers on defense. And to me, when I think explosive on defense, I think Dante Fowler. Dante Fowler may not be the prototypical type of Patricia guy, but he would instantly bring athleticism and pass rush prowess to an edge position that is desperately missing it. Face it, Bears fans, the #1 way your team gets better is by upgrading your quarterback position. If you aren't ready to get rid of Trubisky, then you might as well at least bring someone in who can compete with Trubisky. Teddy Bridgewater may not possess the physical skill set that Mitch Trubisky has, but he's a lot smarter. I mean a lot smarter. He makes great decisions, he takes care of the ball, and he executes. That is the type of quarterback that Matt Nagy needs. That is the type of quarterback that would fit perfectly with Chicago's defense. Arik Armstead is the type of monster the Seahawks need on the defensive line. Whether that's inside or outside, Armstead has shown that he can produce. And really, it was inside the same scheme in San Francisco. Armstead can stop the run, rush the passer, and is a tough man to block for opposing offensive lines. It might be tough to convince Bulaga to leave Green Bay, but I feel like protecting Kyler Murray as he ascends into NFL superstardom may actually convince him. Bulaga is used to protecting superstar quarterbacks, and if I'm the general manager of Arizona, I'm going after that right tackle that excels in pass protection. The Rams, offensive line, period, end of story. Specifically interior offensive line, they have major holes there, and really it's what allowed them to miss the playoffs in 2019. They need to protect Jared Goff, and they need to upgrade their center position. I give you Connor McGovern, who is one of the best in the league. He played in a zone running scheme in Denver, and that really transfers well to McVay's rushing attack. The 49ers really have no clear need on their roster, and if they're not going to go out and sign Tom Brady, I believe the defensive line is probably the place to build, because that's always at the forefront of their team building strategy. Michael Bennett is friends with Richard Sherman. He worked with Robert Saleh in Seattle. He's a defensive lineman who can play inside as a pass rusher. He can play outside on rundowns. He dominated playing in the Seattle scheme. He's a champion, a phenomenal role player, and he can play any spot on the 49ers defensive line. If I'm Lynch and Shanahan, I say sign me up for a cheap Michael Bennett contract. Those are my choices for one signing for every NFL team this offseason. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, spike the like button and subscribe for more NFL free agency videos just like this. Peace.